Hello, and welcome back. Today, we are going to be making our homemade chicken flock block. So I've always wanted to make one of these, and I finally found a recipe online, and I'm willing to give it a go, so we are going to do it together. The ingredients were pretty straightforward. There were a couple things that I had to actually buy special just for this because it wasn't something I had on hand, and I'll put the link in the description down below, the website that I found this recipe on, and I will also put the recipe in the description so you just have a quick reference. But it takes coconut oil, oats, wheat germ, this isn't something that I had on hand, whole wheat flour, ground cinnamon, and cayenne pepper, and I might put in some of this crushed red pepper just because. And then this blackstrap molasses was actually kind of difficult for me to find at any of the stores in my area. I couldn't find it. So I did order it online. And fun fact, I guess the only difference between this like blackstrap molasses and regular molasses is the boiling process. I guess the blackstrap molasses is like the third and final like boil of molasses, if you will, so it's going to be more nutrient dense and it's better for the chickens, more minerals in it. So I guess technically I probably could have used regular molasses, but since I've never made this recipe before, I was trying to stick closely with it. And then I'll have to go out to the aviary to get the scratch grains, which I'm just going to use cracked corn, the layer feed, and my sunflower seeds. Now the recipe also said that you can use shelled or not shelled sunflower seeds, and I'm just going to use what I have. I buy those 40-pound bags of just regular sunflower seeds for my birds because they like them so much, so that's what I'm going to be using. And then it says to bake it in a tin, like if you were to use per se like an 8x8 cooking dish or like a 9x13. It just says that it's supposed to be 2 inches thick, and I have a lot of birds and I don't want them crowding around just one, so I just bought these tiny little ones, so I can make several of them. Whoa, I didn't realize that was in there. Okay. So I can make several of them, and when I go to bake them, I'll make a little hole with like a spoon or something so I can hang it from a string inside my aviary. But I'm kind of excited to see how well these turn out, and of course, you know, I can, if it makes a whole lot of them, if I use them all, I can just put them in the freezer and save them for later. But I'm curious to see whether or not if it's going to be worth it to make it at home versus how expensive it is. It's kind of funny, I actually couldn't find one at Walmart or like my feed store to compare them to, because I was going to make one and buy one and see which ones the chickens like better, because of course we have to make sure the chickens like it, otherwise what's the point of making it? I'm not going to eat it, that's disgusting, but they should like it. And I couldn't really find anything to compare it to right now. So the ones, they have the tiny little bitty ones for like wild birds that are put together. They're super sticky, and then they have like the big ones that are like 30 or 40 bucks that would take like a month for them to go through, and that's not what I was going for here. So I decided not to go that route. I'm gonna go ahead and just make it and see how they like it. So let's go ahead and start mixing everything up. Okay, so I had the recipe saved on my phone, so I just kind of quickly wrote it down on all these little scratch papers that fell out of the tins. And the scratch grains, the layer feed, and the sunflower seeds are all in here now. I just wait because I have everything outside, all my bird feed. I did want the crumbles and I got the pellets on accident, but we're just gonna go with it. So the sunflower seeds was a 1/2 cup, and then 2 cups scratch grain, which I said I was just going to do cracked corn because that's what I have, and then 1 cup of your layer feed. Gonna make sure that's nice and mixed in, and then let's get you kind of positioned down so you can see what I'm doing. And then also I forgot the eggs. We need 3 eggs that go in this recipe. Cup of oats. Let's just get all of our dry ingredients put in. And then we will add our wet ingredients after. I'm going to put the wheat germ in now, and it's calling for 1/4 cup. So I moved the camera around. My tripod's kind of messed up, so I have to like weigh down the back of it so that it will stay up, but tried to change the view a little bit so you can get a better bird's eye view of everything. So I'm going to go ahead and add all of the dry ingredients, and then we will go through and add the wet ingredients. And I'm going to have to melt the coconut oil. Obviously these are the binders, the molasses and the coconut oil. So next I'm going to add the cayenne pepper and the cinnamon. Now the cayenne pepper says 1/2 teaspoon, and then the cinnamon is 1 teaspoon, and then I'm just going to add some red pepper flakes just cause. If you didn't know already, fun fact, chickens don't really notice a heat, and it's actually really good for their respiratory system. And I'm just going to wing it. I'm not even going to measure this part out. A 1/4 cup of flour. A whole wheat flour. Very specific here. Oh, it smells good now. Okay, now the 3 eggs, 1/2 cup of the oil, and 1/2 cup of this. And then we will press it into our pans and we can bake it. I'm using my duck eggs because I have so many more of those than I do my chicken eggs. Is it weird that the molasses actually smells really good? Can't say. I wonder how this would be in like cookies. Have you ever had like molasses cookies? So another fun fact, brown sugar is just molasses and regular white cane sugar mixed up over and over again and dried out, so that's what gives it its brown color. So I don't buy brown sugar, I just make my own, and I like molasses, so I wonder how good this would be if I tried it in baking. Okay, here is the 1/2 cup of coconut oil. I think I'm just gonna pour this molasses into this container. Oh yeah, looks good stuff. Always make sure that you clean up the lids on the molasses because it gets sticky and tacky, and it gets really hard to open if you don't clean like the rims when you pour it over. All right, here's that. Okay, I think that's all of our ingredients. So now I just need to mix it. This is what it looks like. And then I'm going to put it into these, make sure it's at least 2 inches thick, and then I will bake it. I don't remember how long I'm supposed to bake it for or what temperature, so I'll have to go back to the recipe because I did not write it down. I'm using my phone to record, so I should have wrote the whole recipe down before I started, but oh well. I do remember in the recipe that it said that I could lightly grease the pan if I wanted to, and then also remember that I need to make some holes before I bake it, so that way I have somewhere to hang it. I can thread some yarn or some string through it so I can hang all these flock blocks. Okay, it wasn't super hard to stir or anything. I thought maybe with the molasses and the oil that it would be hard to stir, but since I melted it, maybe that's why it wasn't hard at all. But this is what we're looking like. I mean, it looks like a fluff block. Let's go ahead and put it into our containers. How many do you think will fill? I think the recipe said that it would make 2 like pie pan sized. So let's get 4 out. Because like I said, I have a bunch of birds, so I want to be able to hang multiple of these. I don't want them all crowding around one. I mean, I want everybody to get some. Now, should I spray? I don't think I'm going to spray it. I feel like there's enough oil that I shouldn't have to. And I want to make sure it sets up right. So I don't want to add too much oil. It'll be fine. Now I'm going to go ahead and press it down. And it's pressing down rather nicely with this little rubber spatula I got here. So I don't need to get my hands dirty. Press it down nice and compact. Okay, so I got them all pressed into these pans. I referred back to my recipe and it says to cook for 30 minutes at 325 degrees, and I'm going to use this chopstick to make my little holes. Okay. Oh, this is what we're looking like. You see my little hole right there? That's where my hole is. Oh, there we go. Okay, so these bad boys are gonna go in the oven. We will string them up and then see what the girls think. There's what it looks like. I did not burn it, almost. And I think my holes survived. So that's fabulous. I won't be able to test this out to the morning. I still need to let it cool before I can string it up anyways, but it is already dark. So there's no way that I'll be able, I mean, I could go out there with a headlamp and string it up, but most of my girls are going to be going to bed soon if they're not already perched up. So we will try these out in the morning. I will string them up and hang them, and we'll see how they like them. Okay, it is the next morning, and I am ready to hang my flock blocks. I got them hung up on this twine here. They seem to be holding together really well. And funny story, remember how I told you guys that it smelled really good? I had both my daughter and my husband wanting to know what I was baking because it made the house smell so good. So if you decide to make these, maybe make a sweet treat too, so your family's not disappointed when they find out that you're baking for the chickens. It's still dark outside and I have to go to work soon, so I'm really hoping that I can get this filmed before I leave. Otherwise, we're gonna be watching in the dark if they like these or not. I mean, I have a headlamp on, so I guess let's see what we can do. Well, they seem rather uninterested in it. So I guess we're gonna leave it at that. I am a little bit disappointed. I thought they were gonna go apeshit for this. So I guess I will just have to wait and come back and check when I get off work and see if it looks like it's even been picked at. I guess I will check back tonight when I get off work. Well, besides the fact that it is a muddy freaking mess out here, I don't see any evidence of my flock blocks. So I'm guessing it was a hit. I'm guessing, I mean, it had to have been eaten. There's nothing out here, like nothing out here that even signifies that I hung it. There's none of the oats, none of the sunflower seeds, nothing. It's like the whole thing was taken by a hawk, but I have netting, so there's no way that happened. So I guess it was a win. Oh, they're going for it already. So that's a plus. Okay, so at least now I have proof they did in fact peck it until obliteration yesterday. They do enjoy the flock block. That makes me really happy because I was really excited to use this recipe, and I was really bummed out yesterday when I came out here first thing in the morning and they were like, what is that? I'm not gonna touch it. And they just kind of went around it and didn't really know what to do. I guess in their defense, I don't hang a lot of treats. Usually when I come out with treats, they go in their little containers, or I just throw them out on the ground. So maybe being hung kind of threw them off. I don't know, whatever. I'm gonna call this recipe a win, and I will definitely be making it again. It was super easy to make and definitely cost effective because I don't have to buy anything right now to make more. I could probably make 10 more batches of these with what I have in my house. So that is definitely a win in my book. I will link it down below. I'll put the recipe down there for just a quick glance, and I'll also put the website up of where I got it so you guys can read her whole article on what she said about these flock blocks. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.